Hello?
Could beat up.
Is anyone online?
This group works with
Okay.
underprivileged kids.
That's right.
It is 5:30,
Gets old.
and I'd like to call the meeting of the Economic Development Commission. It is Wednesday, June 1st, 5:30 p.m. We have in attendance Sherry Cody, John Stratton, Joe Camian, MJ DeRizio, and Mona Colwell. Cheryl Poirier. Dave Rubino is out of the country on business. And I don't remember hearing from Wendy. She might be on her way.
We'll be here.
Okay. And we'll mention at the end of the meeting under new or additional business that Howard has stepped down. Are we missing anyone else?
I think we got everybody.
Yeah, okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 4th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 4th.
Okay, Mona, is there a second?
I'll second.
Joe, any discussion?
Good.
Having no discussion, all in favor of approving the May 4th meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain. I was absent.
I'll abstain. So MJ and Sherry, thank you, are abstentions. All right, economic indicators. MJ with real estate.
Okay, so I have these little packets that I put together because I know how much paper you all love. But I will send a PDF. It came through late. There was a little cog in the wheel when I scanned. Sorry about that. The last stats we have are through April on residential, but on commercial, I brought them through till today. There's an awful lot of empty storefronts. The big properties on the market, of course, is the new hardware store that hasn't received an offer, and the marina, of course. Huntley Road is under contract, the pretty little physician's building. For sale, full sale. And one other comment. The shopping center across the street on Halls Road is still on the market for almost $540.
83 Halls Road?
Pardon me?
Are you talking about 83 Halls Road?
The shopping center that houses Andy's Market, Hideaway.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
right, Old Line Shopping Center.
Yes.
Did you mention 83 Halls Road? I'm sorry, I missed. Said something about 83 where Duncan is.
No, I didn't.
Second
About that.
Maybe
There's a building behind there, Davis Road West.
Wendy Russell's in attendance.
Rental.
It looks like that's a rental.
83 Halls Road
Oh, okay.
rental. They're all mostly
That's what I
rentals
thought.
except for the hardware store, the shopping center, the marina, the Huntley Road property, the medical building, the blue one behind the gas station on the little cut through the line, is under contract. So someone has purchased that. We're just waiting to get it done.
Do you know if it's, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mona.
No, you go ahead.
There is a new business where Beach Bums was. One of the partners in Beach Bums has continued the business. There's a new name to it. I don't know. Only if it's public information. I'm curious if and when
On Hartford Avenue?
Hartford Ave sells, would their lease be in place? Would they be able to continue as a business?
That would be public information, so as soon as it closes, I can find out. But I also know the people over there, so I'll see if I can look around. There was one other thing. Cherry Stones, as you know, is still off the market.
But there's a sign out still.
Yes, but it's not being shown actively. The property, as I am aware of it, just from public record, is that there are issues after issues after issues with property lines and all kinds of things going on over there. So it's going to be a difficult sale at any place. The residential market is still very busy. There's still many more buyers than there are homes to sell them. Price appreciation is slowing ever so slightly. It's up another 7% year-to-date on average. And year-over-year, even in the heavy COVID years, it still was up 54%. So it's just amazing how people are still buying property even in a rising interest rate environment. The next couple of pages are all the details where these stats come from. You can look at your leisure, you can check out your neighbors. These are all residential properties that are for sale, that have sold, that are ready to close. They've cleared all the hurdles for financing, inspections, and then some that are under contract that still have some contingencies with maybe final inspections, financing and the like. But you can see the prices and the price points. They're from, a couple $100,000 to several million.
So for our minutes, do you have one summary statement about the residential market?
No, the residential market is undeterred. Buyers are undeterred. The the inventory is still extremely low, and prices are appreciating at a slower rate of appreciation than had been previously, but still high.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have one other question about commercial.
Yes.
389 Shore Road on the first page, is that a rental as well, or is that sale?
That's a rental. Those low
Okay.
numbers are all rentals.
So Grandma's Market, I'm concerned about these little small businesses that are in these leased places. That's not affecting Grandma's, which is in that building.
No, that's a separate. I don't
unit
know.
in there.
Whoever has a business there and that space there is willing to lease it.
Okay. All right.
Basically what that says.
Thank you. All right. Actually, MJ, would you also, for the minutes, give us a summary statement about commercial?
Commercial, there's still a lot of storefront for lease. We have some excess capacity. I think that if I had to hazard a guess, it would be the whole bricks and mortar post-COVID environment. There are some entrepreneurs that can find a niche, but these, with little exception, are not Class A buildings. Certainly some of them are seasonal. And then the properties that are for sale and the businesses that are for sale are very, very high price points, and they're going to be, they always will have a long pipeline to get sold.
And we don't have anything in the light industrial zone upon?
Not on the market publicly.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
But they've expanded over there, just off the record. Pasqualini did some expansion.
Everything's on the record in the meeting.
No, I mean off the MLS.
Oh, okay.
off the sales record.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me. There's been some expansion there.
Okay.
Does that mean jobs? I don't know. It just means more trucks. It's meant more barrels of whatever and things like that. But I haven't seen any new businesses move in.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions for MJ?
So the property with Andy's Deli, that's not in here?
No, it's not. It's on another site.
Oh, okay.
But it's on for 5285. I call it 53.
So that's like the most expensive one that's...
As for a whole property, yes, because the hardware store, that's just the business at 2.5. They don't own that building.
They lease that space.
They lease that space. I don't know what the details are.
And the Davis Road that sold, there was like...
Sold? The Huntley Road?
So Davis Road these were just rentals right here. There were a couple on Davis.
Yes, anything that's under a couple $1,000 is space for rent or lease. And so there's a section of that building apparently that is going to be leased,
Mm-hmm.
not the whole building.
Okay. Thank you, MJ.
Okey-dokey.
All right, business openings, closings, and ribbon cuttings. We have a few new businesses or transfers of ownership. First one is Carla's at Nightingale's Cafe. That's on Lime Street where the Nightingale's Cafe is. Carla's was one of the two owners of Beach Bums down on Hartford Avenue, and now rather than Gail Stevens at Nightingale's trying to run the restaurant business, Carla's has some sort of arrangement with them where she's running the food business there, and they're doing breakfast and lunch 6 days a week, including Sundays for the church crowd for coffee and all. She's very excited to be there. I talked to her about a ribbon cutting, and I'm hoping for something the week of June 13th. So maybe the 14th or 15th. And so perhaps what we will do is I'll just send out an email to people asking if you're available. I have to check in with Tim. It was going to be next week, and it just wasn't coming together. So I need to check with the select persons as well.
The new business is located on Falls Road?
It's on Lime Street.
Oh, on Lime Street, okay.
I should know the number off the top of my head. Something like 65. It's across from the fire station.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they have an evening acoustic cafe as well. They bring in musicians. They do a teen open mic night. It's really, they do a lot of good work in the music arena. It's a nice little business. And it's a nonprofit as well. Not Carla's, but the Nightingale's Acoustic Cafe is part of a nonprofit. Carla's left Beach Bums, but as I just said, her partner is still running a business down on Hartford Avenue. And I have not approached that partner yet to see if, I know there's a new name to that business, so we can see if we wanted, if they would like to do some sort of ribbon cutting there as well.
I would highly recommend that be during the week.
Yeah.
On a bad weather day.
Right.
I mean,
Good point.
There this weekend to pick somebody up, and you couldn't even drive down the street.
You can't get down the street. We want people to be able to park and all.
And it's for Carla's, by the way, June 14th is Flag Day, and I think they have a little ceremony.
Oh, okay, good
So
point.
maybe there might be some kind of cross the street and see what we're doing.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
It would be a good idea to try to combine them.
That's a good point.
Like they'll retire flags and...
Okay, yeah. All right, I'll check into that. And then we have Holland Farms, which, if you don't know, is the yellow tent on Shore Road. That has a new owner. The previous owner retired. The new owner is Brian Corvo. He is very excited to be in Old Lyme. He's doing lots of social media to promote his produce that he's selling and the other goods that he's selling, and he is interested in a ribbon cutting. I spoke to him the day before he opened, so he wanted a few weeks to kind of get his bearings. So I'll follow up with him as well. Maybe that can also be the week of June 14th. Long River, I have not checked with them. Again, I know they wanted their flowers to grow in more on the front lawn. I did notice tonight on the way here that they do have a new sign. They were finding that they believed people weren't able to really see that metallic sign that they had out front, so they have a new sign, nice and big and clear, that it's a cafe. So that's really helps. I hope that helps them out a lot. The hardware store, I'm not really sure how to proceed on that. I might check in with them again just to see what's going on, because if the business sells, we're doing a ribbon cutting for that new owner. So I don't want it to appear that the EDC isn't supporting the hardware store because we are pro-business, especially our small local owners, but we just need to size that up more.
Well, I did notice they had an awful lot of inventory out on the sidewalk, like Bill would have a grill out there, but they actually organized it a little differently, and it looked like it was attracting some walkers into the post office and around.
And they're doing nice community collaborations. They just had the library there for a tool time, story time activity. Okay, so they're doing some nice collaborations in town. So we'll follow up on that. Any news on the Taqueria?
On the who?
The Mexican.
John, what's going on with the taqueria?
Taqueria.
Look for the taqueria. I cannot find the taqueria.
Oh, okay.
Is it not there? It's in. It's just a few doors down from Andy's. It's in the old Lamia.
Oh, it's down
Pizzeria?
right there? Oh, so it's where whatever it was, Verona or...
Yeah, Mona Lisa's and then Lamia's.
I haven't been there. I go right by there.
If you see the lights on at all, they've been working in there for quite a while, many months. So if anyone sees life inside, if you could give a knock on the door and check in with them, that would be helpful. Is anyone aware of any other businesses in town opening or closing?
No, but I'm starting to think about the ribbon cutting update thing. I would love to see if we could do as many of them as possible at once. Sort of, welcome the warm weather, welcome the summer, welcome all these people that have come to town. It doesn't have to be like the first day they open the door. Just make a big brouhaha about it.
And it'd be especially good if we could get them ink, if you will. We can get like the Examiner or the Timeline or some other publication to kind of like publish on that.
So what
I
happens?
think someone's renting space down at the Ridge.
Oh, that's what I meant to mention.
Thank you.
Yes, I have that. I have the name of that sign.
Yep.
We're going to come back to what you're saying, though, MJ.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
I have
And it'd be nice if existing businesses, like the kayak people and the people who have really high volume seasonal businesses would support them and do a soundbite for any kind of print or ink that we get.
And to that point, this Brian Corvo, who is at Holland Farms, a farm stand, someone ran out of something. Grandma's, which is down at the entrance of Point of Woods, they ran out of something. You should know this. And they went to Holland Farms, and he helped them out. And then they helped him out. And he is promoting Grandma's on social media because they're two small businesses helping each other. So that kind of thing.
That makes a nice story,
It does make a nice story, even though I didn't tell it well.
But
Okay, so going in at ES Watermelon is Homeward Collective, and I don't think it's public yet, the name of that leaser, but I can say that they've had a previous lifestyle boutique before. So they're a successful, experienced business person.
You leave a little brown bag lifestyle?
No, I think there was a lifestyle place just down the street a little bit in the Griswold shopping center, the little one down there, where I bought a very expensive teapot, that I felt obligated to buy.
Okay.
However, it was really nice.
Very good.
That was 15 years ago.
To the
that's
point
exciting.
about grouping all of them together, for each one, as I did for Stumble In, I interview the business owner and I write up an article for Limelight. And I would rather space them out so that, let's say we're doing Farm, he's getting his full splash with social media and a Limelight article and that sort of thing. So, we could try to have them more, closer in time together, but my own opinion is that to have them all like the same day or the same 2 days it would take away from the publicity that anyone
It
gets.
would also be impossible to schedule with all those business owners.
Yes.
It's hard enough to pin them down for a day individually. Try to get them all on one day at one time. It'd be challenging.
And I worry about getting all the write-ups done.
Yeah.
Can we take advantage, though, of like some critical mass? Like, do each of them, besides getting that little certificate, can they each, we're giving away 14 replicas of the big scissors because we had 14 new businesses that we're going to introduce this month. And they can be little scissors from Walmart. I don't know. I just like to splash it, some kind of.
That's a nice idea for a little award, though. A little leave behind.
Yeah.
They frame it and put it up on their wall with the date.
Right.
Another pair of businesses in the industrial park by 4 Mile River Road, Suchaki.
Suchaki.
A lot going on here.
Yeah.
That guy's been just building away, so I don't know exactly, but
He's construction.
he's got quite a bit of equipment there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
I think
kind
they're
of
building a
blossomed.
parking lot or something.
And then the other one is Pasqualini has cleared a whole area that's something's going on there, whether it's just going to be an equipment yard or it's going to build.
They got approval to increase the number of trucks they're putting there and barrels they're putting there and all kinds of things with zoning about 3 or 4 months ago.
So it's like maybe we should recognize them as well. Just that.
Right, expansion,
Okay.
especially if there are jobs involved.
Right.
I think they've actually brought jobs to town.
Like whatever his name is.
One thing about being a runner is you get to see everything.
Right.
And I actually have seen trucks,
Right.
like pickup trucks that people have in their driveways from Suchaki. So that kind of would be indicative that they're employing locals.
Okay.
Yes, they are. I know somebody that's starting working for them recently and will be again, and they have a couple of big projects underway. So he might be able to disclose that if someone wants to talk to him.
That's good. Okay. American Rescue Plan Committee. On that committee, we've been meeting weekly, every Wednesday at noon for a couple of hours, looking at the grants. Today, the committee finalized the list of grants it's recommending the Board of Selectmen approve. So there are, I think they're approving maybe 32 or so community initiative grants and maybe 35 or so small or local businesses that are looking for economic recovery. So there's a lot of work going on there.
Would that exhaust 100% of the funds, or is there another phase? It will exhaust 100%.
Yeah.
Is our request on the approved list?
So far, yes. Okay. Marketing and promotion, Eastern Regional Tourism District update. Wendy.
I don't have a roll up because they canceled the meeting and it's this week.
Okay.
So I don't have a big update, but they are working on just something to be aware of, sub-destinations within the tourism district. We're all under the Mystic country. And they want to split certain destinations and subdivide it and each have their own destination name.
Like coast and country?
Yeah, well, so we're part of Salem, Basra, Norwich, Montville, Lyme, East Lyme, Waterford, and New London. So that's our subdivision, if you will, or I don't know what you want to call it. But, and so they're coming up with different names, like some that are out there, like Historic Coast, Greater Thames, Coastal Connecticut, Sound and more, Historic Waters. There's just a whole bunch of stuff out there. So they're trying to get away from the Mystic Country, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with, but it's a big undertaking, and there's a lot of money that's been spent on Mystic Country and marketing. So I don't know how that's going to work and where we'll land on it, but what's in the works right now.
Okay, so the region that we're in, along with New London and Salem and all, the kind of theme is history and coastal?
That's what it's sounding like. That's what they're leaning towards. Greater Thames Coast.
Can we give you ideas or concepts? Would you bring?
Sure. I'm not quite sure where we're at in the process, so we'll find out. I'll find out this week. I mean, if you have ideas, you could throw it out there, I guess.
I would suggest that we don't get lumped in with Norwich. There's absolutely nothing.
Well, they have the casino.
Oh, are we? I didn't even catch Norwich. Is Norwich on that list?
Yep, Norwich. Yep.
Oh, I missed the
That's
word.
already happened.
Nothing against that area, but, you know, they can't call it coastal because...
Well, I was thinking like Waterwoods, you know, there's a lot that, there's a lot to offer. There's campgrounds and there's golf, there's, you know, it's very diverse.
So we're in with New London and Norwich.
And Groton, right, Groton, or are they...
No Groton.
No Groton.
No Groton.
So we're in with the casinos, but not Mystic
Yeah, because Mystic would keep its Mystic
Country.
It would still be Mystic Country, but they're trying to do sub-destinations under that umbrella.
Because New London doesn't want... So I'm married to Dave Quinn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I heard that, yeah.
So I hear all about all of this at home.
I'm sure.
So New London, you know, doesn't want to be with Mystic Country.
Right, that's been in the paper, yeah.
Right? And then there's the northeast corner. All of that area there also doesn't really want to be Mystic Country because they don't feel like they are Mystic Country. And so that's where all of this is coming from. And the rest of us are just sort of lumped in, you know. We're not really Mystic Country either here in Old Lyme.
Right.
We've been living with it for so many years. And as you mentioned, there's been a ton of money spent on it. So they've got an uphill battle here trying to figure out these sub-brands. And then if they do finally settle on some kind of names for these sub-brands, then marketing it.
Can I ask what the big perimeter is? You said the northeast corner.
Corner.
Yeah, I mean, like
Eastern Connecticut, from
the river.
The quiet corner.
From Old Lyme over to the Rhode Island border, all the way to the top.
What's the...
So like Connecticut River?
The Connecticut... No, it can't be the Connecticut River.
I don't know that it's the Connecticut River.
Saybrook's not in it.
I want to say like Holland's definitely in it. I think Manchester's considered Greater Hartford.
Right.
Vernon might be in it.
Yep. So Jewett City, Brooklyn, Danielson, Thompson, Putnam.
395 corridor, essentially.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
The last Green Valley.
Yeah, the last Green Valley.
Bringing this up the most.
Yep.
And it's not really what we've decided. It's more that's where it's driving from, I believe. That's what it seems like. It's been going on for years, really, honestly. And now they're trying to bring it to fruition. I don't know if it will. But, you know, Mystic is a destination, and that's why it's a draw for Connecticut in general, you know, and so that's why the marketing dollars went into, you know, people search for Mystic, you know, so, but their claim is they search for their area as well, and they should have their own destination.
It used to be that the state had 8 different tourism districts, right? And now there's, I think, 3. So, you know, it's a big area to lump into 3 different buckets.
Yeah, it is true.
Do they still have 8 on their website when you do Connecticut tourism?
No, I don't think so.
Or do you just do it town by town by
years ago.
Yeah.
It's not town by town, it's region by region. You can probably do a search by individual town, but you have it lumped out into regions.
Yeah, like Hartford is all the way to Branford.
But they'll identify that if I'm searching for Hartford.
Yeah.
They just don't have a
Put
name.
you in the right bucket.
Oh, they do have a name for it.
So there's the Central Coast, and then Eastern Regional, and I don't know what the Western probably is what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's in the works, so we'll see how that pans out, but...
Does the budget grow with this project? Just asking. Okay.
When they are marketing that area, the big attractions are Hammonasset and Rocky Neck up here, beyond the arts and things that we want a piece of. But people were lining up to get into Rocky Neck early every morning of the weekend. I mean, early, like 7:30. And do we want to carve a piece out of that? You know, do we give out flyers at the gate, so to speak? I'm making that up, of course, and not really right. But people come down from long distances, and all they do is that one thing, and they drive back home.
If we had funding to do a digital ad campaign, it would be great to geo-target those folks.
Yeah.
And encourage them to come to Old Lyme.
That would be interesting.
Well, I would target them to come, like you go to the beach now, but when the snow is on the ground, this is where you want to come.
Yeah.
Stay at an inn, you know, skate on a pond.
Very
Go
nice.
to an art gallery.
Yep.
Sit by a fire.
Yep.
Just kind of turn it around a little.
There's new business stuff that we could discuss along these lines too, so
Okay.
that is not written down, but
Well, good luck to you.
Yes.
Wendy.
can I just throw in an anecdote? So on whatever it was morning, Memorial Day morning, maybe the day before, Massachusetts SUV, nice young kid, maybe 12, dressed up in baseball gear, and he and his dad were from Sherburne, whatever, Massachusetts, and they had decided to stay overnight at the Old Lyme Inn.
Very nice.
And they had a little time in the morning, and he said, where can I go now? What's open? Well, you're way too early, but drive up and down Lime Street, birthplace of American Impressionism. I did the key things to look at and see. He said, this is really nice down here. I mean, he was not an innocent either, but his point of view was he never really realized what was here. And he was bound for Mitchell College for a big Little League playoff. You know, we don't necessarily realize that our regionally, is an attractant for people that we don't think of as our constituency. So that's got to keep an open mind about that.
Which brings up a question I've had. Has anyone talked to Chris recently about, is she going to stay open all year? I mean,
At the inn?
The inn has been so sporadic.
Official minutes with our recording. I don't want to talk about gossip or,
Right, I understand.
surmising. So I think,
Can we approach her as economic development and say, we've got a big picture here and we want you to fit in, but we don't know how to fit you in yet?
I would add that the fellow, you reminded me that he went to the side door jazz thing. That may have been what made him choose the Old Lyme Inn as opposed to something nearer to New London.
Right.
But he said, it's phenomenal. This is great. Do you know about this?
yeah.
Yeah. So in other words, another attractant for people from further away.
Absolutely, and they do very good, they do a good job promoting that side door with regional press. Marketing, never ending. Okay, Old Lyme Midsummer Festival participation. We have a spot on the front lawn of the Lyme Art Association, we being EDC. So if we are funded by ARPA and can buy our special tent by then, we'll do that. Otherwise, we'll use a plain tent and a plain tablecloth, and we'll have some materials that I have to start pulling together in the next week or so to hand out to people about tourism in Old Lyme, or places to eat and things to do. And perhaps at the July meeting, we can talk about who would like to take like a 2-hour shift at that table. It would be Saturday, July 30th, from 9 to 3 or so.
We should probably come up with a giveaway that we could have people sign up for and give us their email address.
That is a great idea, and I was going to bring some, Mona was going to talk about email addresses. That's a great idea.
I will tell you that Essex Savings Bank is going to have a table or a booth or a tent or something. They've been asked if they wanted one. They are sponsoring the marine exhibit there. So,
well, they're a sponsor of the Midsummer Festival. That's why they can have a tent there. Yeah.
they're a sponsor of the marine exhibit at the Lime
Right,
Association.
but the Midsummer Festival they're a sponsor of
Oh,
as
okay.
well. Yeah.
So
That's why they
we've
would have a
asked
booth.
them. All right, well, I'll have to talk to them about that. I didn't know.
Go ahead with you.
There's going to also be a children's exhibit downstairs, young artists, and they're going to give away little prizes. And we thought maybe that they could engage young people about banking and whatever, or give them a little pens or the parents little passport savings books or something to get them started or learn whatever. So I don't know how they're going to integrate all that, but it's good to know.
Good.
Thanks.
Mona and I have also been talking about engaging businesses. And that is related to, I don't even know if we have this on here, building, business communications is further down. So,
Yeah, well, we were just talking about, and we've been bringing this up at the last couple of meetings, just trying to figure out how to incorporate a way for businesses to participate in the Midsummer Festival. And since we don't really have an active list right now, perhaps this would be an opportunity for us to just start building a list. And then Cheryl mentioned at the last meeting about, I don't know if it was publicly or just the two of us talked about this, like starting a newsletter. We talked about this at the meeting, right? Starting something, going out, like it could just be 3 things. It could be related to any promotions that the state is offering or regional promotions, just something short, once a month, reaching out. And Cheryl was kind of picturing waiting until we had a list already built, but we were talking about maybe just starting to do it and use it as a way to build a list. And definitely getting some email addresses when we get together for the midsummer. And we also talked quickly about maybe sending something out now. Like I'm going to try to get all of the email addresses that we can for the people that are on the existing website, and just letting them know that the midsummer's coming up, just in case they don't know, because it is going to be here before you know it. It's going to be in 2 months, and some of the small businesses may not even be aware or paying attention. And not that we're going to try to incorporate anything other than just letting them know, and maybe they'll take the news and run with it and create a sale or a flyer or do some kind of promotion on their own on that day.
So we had been talking about something bigger than that a month or 2 ago, but we're scaling it down. This is the first year Midsummer's back in 2 years, since 2019. So if a business is new here, they may not realize there'll be some traffic that day. And so I think the idea, where we landed, is that we're going to start small, and building an email list will help us do things like, it would have been nice to be able to let the businesses know one-on-one or directly about the ARPA grants, for instance. We had no direct
Building the business email database should be fairly easy, time-consuming because it's a lot of research, but they all have websites and you should be able to extract their email addresses. But if you're going to collect email addresses at the festival, those are more tourist-type people or maybe residents, and so you'll want to keep your 2 lists separate. Because if you were to email the tourists or residents with business information, they'll probably unsubscribe. So just a note of caution that you'll probably want to have 2 separate lists.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 separate audiences.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, I think that's it on Midsummer.
Are they having fireworks? I heard they were.
Yes. Yep. Okay, and then the other marketing piece is a postcard that the arts organizations want with a Q code for Explore Old Lyme and letting people know where to go grab lunch or whatever, so that's in the works. Explore Old Lyme, I went to the MDCC meeting 3 or 4 weeks ago. Mentoring, MCCD, Mentoring Core for Community Development. Had the acronym wrong, so I couldn't come up with the words. The MCCD in town. These are retired residents who have great business and nonprofit experience helping organizations in town, or in the region, really. And they're going to, several members are going to help us with the Meet the Business Owners interviews. So we're going to share with them some business names that we haven't been able to reach out to, and I feel confident that they'll represent not just the MCCD, but also the EDC professionally in doing these interviews for us.
So we have our own little group here in Old Lyme of mentors?
Yes.
Wow. It sounds like SCORE,
It's very much like SCORE, yeah.
It's pretty cool that there's a little group just in Old Lyme.
Yeah.
How many are there?
The meeting I went to had maybe 10 people around the table, and I don't even know if that was a full slate or not.
Here's an interesting fact. They do the judging for the invention conventions for the school. So they come in and they check out the kids' inventions at, I think, their middle school and maybe
Third grade it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe younger, and then middle school. Yeah.
But they also help some businesses grow in New London. They have their own website. Again, it's Mentoring Core for Community Development in Old Lyme. You can Google that. I'm having a horrible time with the acronym. They're great people. That's the bottom line. And then just very quickly, Sherry and I have touched base. Advanced CT New Business Guide. Sherry's asked some questions of Advanced CT, and I have some editing that I'm working on.
You saw I sent that email to Courtney.
I did. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Economic revitalization efforts, Halls Road. I don't think we have any update on that. I haven't seen anything new on that.
I think their last meeting was canceled.
Oh, okay. That's why I haven't heard anything. Okay. Thank you, Mona. And Shoreline Gateway.
I missed the initial meeting because I didn't want to infect them with COVID. so I'll be there for the next one, which best I could find on the calendar was July 14th, I think.
June 16th.
June 16th.
Wait, I'm going to double check the date before we leave.
We'll
it's in a couple of weeks. It happens to be the day before Dan Beret, our zoning officer, enforcement officer, leaves for a full-time position in Portland. So they wanted to catch him for sure before that.
Now, Shoreline Gateway wise, if you want to defer this to new business, surely a deterrent to tourism is the increase in parking fees at Soundview. And in not only our lot, the town's lot, but the lots maintained by individuals under license to the town. That is, their license fees have gone up, which will mean that their parking fees go up, etc. That feels like an exclusionary policy to me. How does this is for discussion, how does this interact with open doors, come and see us attitude which we're trying to project? I ask that as a rhetorical question, but also a real one. Not so very long ago, the income from parking was kept in literally a cigar box under several years ago. Now we are clearly trying to monetize our parking lots rather than the beach itself. So we have to think about putting a brave face on this $75 a day fee.
That was my question. Is it $75 a day? It's not a season pass. It's a
day.
I know the manager of the pavilion. She's been there for years and years and years, and they said this year was absolutely the worst year ever, like Memorial Day weekend, for instance. Worst for as many people that came. So many people came from out of town. They were parking in the Big Y,
Yeah.
And then they all pile in one car
Right.
because they can't afford to park. And then they stay there the whole day because they want to get their money's worth. And 8 hours is just way too long to have people on the beach. They're bringing alcohol. It was just a terrible disaster, apparently. She said it's the worst he's ever seen, and she thinks it's contributed to that $75
Exactly.
part of it.
Back.
Because if they could stay for 2 hours, it's a reasonable amount of time, and
In
I don't.
terms of turnover, so that the business makes more money, is that what?
They're not worried about that.
They had a line
They
out the
just-
door waiting for bracelets.
Right, but the beach, it was uncontrollable as far as the people, because they want to go to the beach, and it's free to go to the beach.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere on the beach, and so the beaches fill up, Madison and Rocky Hill, and then they start coming here. Now they're all really starting to come here from the city, like from, and she said and they don't want to pay they don't use the businesses, they just go to the beach, and they can't control it. It's like a disaster. And she thinks it's because they're doing the whole day parking for $75 is a part of the reason, not the whole reason, but that has a lot to do with it, she said. Because a family, if they want to come for 2 hours, they have to pay $75. You're not going to get families.
Is there also the meters are half day, right?
I don't know
The meters are half day.
I think it was like 45 and 75 were two different price points, and I think that people were even parking over at the commuter lot by 71.
Yep, they were. She said that as well.
And somebody even posted that on Facebook, said, you might as well park and Uber in. It's
That's what they were
less
doing.
money than paying for parking.
Well, that's interesting.
That's definitely an unexpected bit of fallout. You try to control the number of people on the beach, but you get people really want to come to the beach, they'll figure out another way.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my issue is we just don't have the real estate to park that many cars. So what do you do?
Well, I think,
And
go ahead.
maybe the fee structure was a horrible way to try to curb it. But no matter what you do, the beach isn't that big.
Right.
I would think that, I don't know, I have no answers for anything. I'm just saying, there were so many people there. It almost becomes hazardous. If someone had gotten ill on the beach, I don't know how an ambulance would have gotten down the street. I don't know how a police car would have gotten down the street. And we have no enforcement. I saw a big tent. I had to drop kids off. I saw this big tent, and it said, no alcohol allowed on beach. And there were two ranger-type people there.
Young kids.
They were young-ish kids.
And they couldn't control
They
it.
can't control it.
And there's people standing there, like, with their coolers, drinking Trulies and beers, and, like, well,
Where are the rangers from? Are they town or are they?
Yeah, they're
I don't
just
know.
like
They're
high school kids.
junior police.
Yeah.
But for municipal or the private?
No.
Old Lyme.
No, Old Lyme.
Old Lyme police.
yeah.
Rangers is the euphemism for junior cops.
Yeah.
Without the power of arrest.
Right.
They have radios, and they're supposed to be able to call the real cops.
We use them for crossing guards every summer.
It actually was a very nice way of putting it, because there used to be the full combat gear cops down there not so long ago.
Well, it sounds like we need to go back to that.
And I think, too, the last few Memorial Days have not been the best beach weather,
Yeah.
plus the pandemic. So it's been a few years since we've had a good beach day, Memorial Day weekend, and I remember, 5-7 years ago, probably longer, 10 years ago, it being that insane Memorial Day weekend.
Pretty consistently been a
Assuming
50 years ago,
the perfect storm of weather and Memorial Day weekend. And I think the draw to that beach is being able to drink right there.
Yep, exactly right.
But they're not
Not just-
utilizing the businesses, they're doing it right on the beach.
Because there's
So it
no
defeats the
enforcement.
Yeah.
But I think also the pavilion had a line out the door, like they
Oh, yeah, they were busy.
They
too,
were very
but
busy. I
that
don't want
one-
it to,
But there's just too many people.
yeah,
You can't,
we can't handle it.
it's like after a soccer game when they storm the field. I mean, that's how absolutely crowded it was.
if I'm recollecting correctly, the cost for policing this crush of visitors is in the order of $250,000 to the town a year.
The parking is set up, the new fee is set up to meet the expense of cleaning and policing the
Correct.
beach.
There are other empty lots there along Hartford Avenue, though, that are not valid Town of Lyme approved parking lots. The ones to the north side of the El Morocco, there's one pretty good size one there.
That belongs to the community center, I think.
Oh, no, it's on the El Morocco side of the street. But the point is that there is space there, but those are not approved parking lots, and they are fenced off. Why aren't they? I don't know. I think.
Well, you have to know who the owner is and all of that.
Well, that's right, and whether they are simply not approved for parking by the town, because there are people who would rather have monopolies on parking, or their own small monopoly for many years. So in other words, getting back to your point, increasing the number of cars isn't necessarily going to improve crowd control.
Well, it's not going to improve business spend either, because they're here to go to the beach. I mean, there are no businesses at Hammonasset nor at Rocky Neck. It's just the beach. So we have a little bit different offering than the others do. Hence, we draw more people who want to do different things. It's not as family friendly as the other beaches are.
It is late in the day. That's my understanding. When you get to about 6 p.m., the
alcohol kicks in.
Well, the alcohol kind of ends. One of the businesses closes at 7 is my understanding. I could be wrong.
Sure.
But, and then it becomes, the carousel and the Italian ice, and so the families start to come in the evening.
And
so it's almost like
there was
what you would expect.
a post about that recently too, where a family went down and they couldn't get parking, and they were taking their kids down there. They were very, very upset that there was no parking at 7 p.m. and they couldn't take their kids, or they drove around for a while.
Oh, the double parking.
So our concern as the EDC is supporting the small businesses,
the merchants,
the merchants. And so, does anyone have thoughts on?
Well, I think you were onto something about the hourly parking rates. It would be nice if there were hourly parking rates, because, like the carousel could say, you buy a book of tickets for whatever, and we pay half parking.
That's right. There is, I think that Kokomo's and the Pavilion have something like that, free 2-hour parking up at one of the lots, the official lots that they pay for. In other words, if you go to eat at Kokomo's, you have a place to park.
I still think that there's just too many people to shove.
I'm saying.
And I felt bad I came back up Swan after I picked up my charges, and it was just as bad as Hartford Avenue, and all those people that live along there, I don't know how they had a peaceful afternoon.
It was people.
Can they charge to go onto
In the streets, the cars double parking.
No, it's a public beach. It's deeded a certain way where it's public.
Harry Hillier on the deed reads to the general unorganized public.
Exactly.
Well, got that right.
So,
yeah, no idea. Unintended consequences.
So I would suggest 2 things. One, if you, I don't know if we all come out the same as the EDC, but I think if any individual here has ideas or concerns about the parking, you can bring those to the Soundview Operations Committee, which is different than the Soundview Commission. There's a Soundview Operations Committee, which is basically the select persons and the police, and I don't know who else, but they're having monthly.
a couple of those.
Okay.
Well, I think, are you talking about the Wednesday morning
Yes.
Soundview meetings? They were meeting every single Wednesday, and they're the ones that came up with the plan
Right.
for parking. And actually, The selectmen are unofficial members of the committee. They're
Okay.
non-voting. They were just there to listen. And I was at one of their first meetings, and they had some pretty detailed plans on all of the costs, and that was how they backed into raising the fees for parking. I went to one other meeting, but I was not present when they came up with the $75 rate. That was a surprise to me.
So I would think you could bring either a public comment or a letter to that committee, your thoughts on the parking costs. But then we can also have Joe bring to Shoreline Gateway.
I'll say that,
concerns?
I will communicate, what we see, that the businesses are, they need to be looked after. That's part of our charge here.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the whole, Soundview overcrowding and the policing burden that comes from people behaving badly, that's, something that, as I've said before, I got involved 2 decades ago in a serious way to try to fix it, and I came to the conclusion, without a paradigm shift, nothing's going to change. And I threw out my paradigm shift that nobody liked, which is the idea of putting out an Outer Banks type fishing pier with getting, you've got Kokomo's where he's trying to do the right thing, and you've got the Pavilion who's following a profitable business model that doesn't serve the interest of the town of Old Lyme. And I proffer that if we could get a coordinated business model that does more, appropriately serve the town and allow absorption of that crush of people in a nice manner, it would be better than what we've got now. Because what we've got now is just bedlam. I don't know what else to describe it as. And you can see my frustration because without a paradigm change, I've been in this town 38 years. It's been that way for 38 years that I've been here. We have to do something that radically changes the paradigm. Otherwise, it's not going to change.
The optics of the $75 to park is not positive for the town because it makes it seem exclusive, elite, and that we don't want outsiders. And in fact, the reason, I guess, is because that's what it costs the town to provide the amenity, but the optics are not great. I was at the governor's press conference on Friday at Hammonasset with Commissioner Katie Dykes to, launch the summer season, and one of the reporters there, we're at Hammonasset in Madison, and he's asking about the parking in Old Lyme, the $75 parking in Old Lyme.
And got the governor to answer the question.
Season pass, how much is that?
Free.
For Connecticut residents.
All state parks are free to Connecticut residents because you pay for it when you register your car. Outsiders, I don't know. Out-of-staters, I don't know.
It's been like 45.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's coming up at that press conference, because... And
it's a soundbite.
And the reporter said, after this, I'm heading to Old Lyme, and I don't know where he ended up or what he did, but it's not, positive for the town.
Mm-hmm.
Do we get any portion of that $10? No.
I've thought a lot about it since seeing all the people writing about it. And in some ways, it might not seem or look good right now, but maybe it will make a difference. I don't know why anybody would pay $75 to go to that beach. I don't know why anybody would pay $20, quite honestly, to go to that beach. But I would like people to pay to go to the businesses. So maybe in the short term, it'll get people to change where they go. Maybe they'll go find other beaches. Maybe they've been coming here for years and they'll be like, I'm going to go somewhere else. And they weren't frequenting the businesses anyway. And it could be good in the longer term for the businesses.
Well, to that point, it doesn't cost us to go to any other businesses in Old Lyme. We can park at Big Y and go shopping, or at the Bowerbird, or anywhere else. And yet, if we want to go to Kokomo's or the Pavilion, we have to actually pay just to get to the business. And so that's not good for our businesses either.
Well, if you have a beach pass, you can
except
park.
if you live in town.
You're not going to go down there and get something to eat or anything for $75. Why would you? Why would anybody ever do that?
As an out-of-towner.
I'm out of towner.
Yeah.
I do have my beach pass, so.
Yeah, well, you're in town.
Now, the other thing is, the shoulder seasons. people have talked about how Old Lyme residents enjoy that area in the spring and fall, or Pocomo's, after
It's itself.
the heavy traffic leaves. So, maybe there's a change in fees outside of the height of the season. I don't know.
I kind of still feel that if the season could be extended to make the business model work better, I think that's part of the solution.
Does anybody know what Kokomo's and the Pavilion contribute in terms of tax revenue to the town? They have inventory, they're billed taxes for that. They have real estate. It's very expensive down there. We know how they pay taxes. Has anybody quantified that?
They might have at those meetings, which I think all of the meeting minutes, those Wednesday meetings, they had a lot of data that they were analyzing.
It'd be interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a business model, but it's not without a contribution to the town. It's not zero. It's certainly probably a lot more than the inn or the dry cleaner that we use every day of the year.
Though I would immediately, just as I'm not an accountant, but I would immediately question what is the number of police calls and other emergency services calls that are generated relative to the tax contribution, the cost of all of that.
I don't know, and I think the town still gives the Federation of Beaches a nice lump sum every year too in their budget. I could go look that up outside, but
Well, the
they're around
Federation
$100,000.
pays to the town, and then the town gives back
Right,
services,
right,
which is always also a question.
right. Which we don't do for the Big Lime, for the Big Y, or the other shopping centers. So, we know their value, obviously, and we give something back.
As nonprofit organizations. I think they're nonprofits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the beach associations are nonprofits, 501c3s. Any other thoughts on that?
This isn't directly relevant, but the shocking increase in water bills that Miami Beach is facing, something just throw into the pot. In other words, that's a disincentive to invest in houses. It happens to be Miami Beach, but it applies to most of the beach communities. Not all of the beach communities, but most of them. Something to keep an eye on. It may look great on paper, but the individual...
But we're not collecting that money. That's
Yeah, that's right. But it's a disincentive to invest here.
Well, it's kind of reflective of, the overbuilding of the beach communities driven by maximizing profit back in the day. Most chickens are coming home to roost now.
Back in the day was before zoning.
Correct.
And that land was laid out as tightly as possible, and there was an implication when you bought a house and land that water rights were included. But water rights were not included. Hence, there is a separate organization, the Miami Beach Association. It's not one near Soundview, it's down further, to give homeowners a beach, but they pay separately into that. The point being, let's make it a happy occasion for people who want to move down and live here and pay the taxes, rather than, disincentive.
Yeah.
Well, there's been no disincentive of home sales at the beach.
Right.
Okay.
Believe me.
Really? I believe you. I'm just asking.
Go figure.
Okay. We do not have members of the public here in person. Are there any members of the public on the phone who would like to comment? Hearing none, I would like to see if anyone has a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Oh, second. That's Sherry and Wendy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Abstentions? Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.